In today's Zoho CRM tutorial, you guys are going to learn everything needed to know to successfully implement the Zoho CRM onto your business. Now, Zoho at its core essentially just is an all-in-one marketing suite, with Zoho CRM being one of their most popular options out there. They also do, however, offer all sorts of different other things, like for example Forms, Thrive, Sign. You can actually also do marketing with Zoho, commerce and POS, service, finance, and a lot more. It is just super important to notice that actually you can integrate all of these tools together and they are going to seamlessly integrate. However, in today's video, we are going to focus on the Zoho CRM. So to get started, head over to the Zoho CRM landing page. I will also leave you a link down below. If you guys do want to support me for completely free, you can use that link. Either way, right here you can then actually get started with your 15-day free trial. You can either just put in your information right here, or you can actually sign in using Google, which is what I'm going to do right now. Once you've signed in, you will have to create a new Zoho account, so I'm just going to agree to all of the terms of services and we can now actually continue. We will then have to put in our company name as well as the phone number of our business. And then we are going to have the option to load sample data. Now, I'm going to leave this as turned on as I'm going to use the sample data for today's tutorial. However, I would recommend for you guys to actually turn this off because otherwise you are going to have a lot of unnecessary stuff on your CRM. I'm just going to click on get started, and now this should actually redirect us onto the dashboard. So right here we are going to have some tips to set up our CRM. I would recommend you to actually just skip this. This isn't really a good way of setting this up. Either way, right now we have been redirected onto the Home tab on Zoho. So as you can see on top, Zoho does actually offer all sorts of different sections inside the CRM. This is actually really comprehensive, which I really like about Zoho. This is actually a great all-in-one tool for your CRM, for your email marketing, and so on. Now as the sample data has been loaded, we can actually see that this home page right here essentially is just going to be a basic overview of everything across your CRM. So right here you can see all of the open deals, open tasks, and a lot more. And actually, if you do want to, you can actually also fully customize this. So you can right here also add new components and you can then select where you do want to get your information from. So you can, for example, create a component to show all of the accounts created in this month. And by the way, if you don't really know yet what accounts, contacts, leads, and so on mean, no worries, we are going to go over everything in today's beginner course, I guess you could say. Right here we can then actually also select custom view, or we can also add widgets onto our basically homepage if we do want to. So this homepage right here essentially is going to work similar to kind of a reports function. So let's actually get started with leads. Now, leads on Zoho essentially are going to be contacts which haven't really been qualified yet, meaning that these leads aren't really going to be interested in your offer yet and you guys aren't really sure if they are actually going to convert. So basically we leverage this leads view to not cluster our contacts view too much, because obviously most people which you are, for example, going to reach out to aren't going to be interested in your offer yet. You can then actually also create new leads by using this button right here, and you will then have to fill in all of the information right here. Additionally, if you're just migrating from another tool, you can actually use this arrow right here, and you can then actually easily import your leads. Now, I would recommend you to actually import this from a file. This is going to be pretty straightforward. You can actually just use a CSV file, which kind of is the industry norm. So I'm just going to drag a file onto this. And this actually now has been successfully uploaded. We can now actually go ahead and add these as new leads. So actually we can also select if we do want to skip existing leads, but as I haven't added any leads onto my CRM yet, I'm just going to leave this at the default. And now in the next step, we basically will have to map our data, meaning that Zoho doesn't really know yet which kind of information is which data type, I guess. So we will have to map that. Most of the time Zoho does this by default. However, let's actually double check. So the fields in the file is named first name and the fields in Zoho is also going to be first name. Perfect. And now we can actually also see that email has been set to email, phone number has been set to Okay, let's actually click on this. Yeah, phone number has to be set to phone and so on. So everything basically has been done by default. And if we, however, have an error right here, we would just have to select the correct field on the right here. Let's actually select this contact owner thing. We can then actually right here select lead owner, and we can then say, okay, this should be basically based on the email. So this essentially is just to map all of the information. And if you do want to, you can also create new fields right here. Once you're done with this, you will just have to click on next, and this is actually going to then, you can just click on continue, and you can then put in all of the import rules right here. I'm just going to click on finish, and these now have been successfully imported. So if we're now going to refresh this should actually show up. I guess this is going to take a couple of seconds. Either way, right now we are on the leads view. You can see all of the leads right here, and on the left you can then see all of the filtering options which you are going to have. Because if you are going to have 20, 30, 50 leads, it is going to be pretty unorganized. So to basically combat this, you're going to have all sorts of different filtering options. And as you can see, now our leads have been imported, so we can now actually refresh this, and now this should show. So you can, for example, filter by annual revenue, converted amount, and so on. You can actually also filter by modified time, modified by, and a lot more. This is just super useful to keep in mind. So let's now actually open up this Carissa Kidman sample lead right here. And as you can see, this is how the actual leads view is going to look like. Now, this is going to be basically the same all across the board. So this is going to look similar on the contacts view as well as on the accounts view. Either way, let's quickly go over this. On the left, you can see all of the related lists which actually have been, I guess, assigned onto this contact. This is going to include notes, cadences, attachments, products, activities, closed activities, invited meetings, emails, campaigns, as well as social. On the overview tab right here, you can then see basically the overview. You can see all of the details of this exact lead. You can see the address information, once again see all of the notes and so on, which you can actually also access on the left. And one feature which actually is really nice to have is this timeline feature right here, which is basically going to give you guys an activity log of everything going on with this exact lead. And now let's actually say that this lead is interested in our offer. Let's actually convert them onto a contact. To do that, just click on convert right here. And now this will actually automatically create a new account. An account essentially in CRM terms is just going to be a company, and they will actually also automatically create a new contact. So a contact is just going to be your contact person for the account/company. And additionally, you can actually also automatically create a new deal for this account if you do want to. We aren't going to do this yet, however, this is actually super powerful later on. I'm just going to click on convert right now, and now we can head over to contacts. And now the Carissa lead is going to show as a contact right here. Let's now once again open this up. One other feature which is super nice to have is that you can actually automatically send out emails right inside Zoho. To do that, just click on send email right here, and you can then easily just put in a subject, and you can then also put in all sorts of different contact onto this exact email. Now, essentially Zoho seamlessly integrates onto your Gmail account as well as all of the other email marketing and all of the other email tools out there. So this is a super nice feature to basically streamline your whole email sending process. For now, I'm just going to actually close this. However, it is also important to notice that you can actually schedule this email if you do want to. And let's actually close this right now. Perfect. So let's now actually get into the view of our contacts. So basically by default you are going to see the contact name, account name, as well as email and phone number right here. You can actually customize this by dragging this around. You can also see the contact owner, and let's actually make this something like this. On the left right here you can then see when the next action is actually going to be needed. So if for example something already is past due, this is going to be red right here. However, we can actually also further customize this. We can, for example, create new columns. These different kind of data sets like phone, email are called columns, and to add new ones, just click on here, click on manage columns, and you can then, for example, say that we should also display the lead source, the first name, last name, vendor name, title, department, and a lot more. You are basically going to have a lot of different options. So in my case, on the contact view, I'm not going to show the lead source. However, I will actually add the department of the contact because this is something which is nice to have. And now we are going to see where each of these contacts are in. So we can see that the Chris Maria contact is in, engineering. We can see that Lyota is in management, and we can basically see all of the different departments all across the board. So once you've set this up, you can then actually also change to the accounts view. And this is basically going to be the same as before. We can once again open this up, and this is then basically going to be pretty much similar to all of the views which we have just covered. However, right here, you can then also see the aligned deals and aligned contacts, and you can see once again all of the different details right here. So let's actually opt out of this, and let's now head over to the deals function. Now, this is going to be one of the most essential parts of your whole CRM, and you are probably going to spend the most time inside here. So what does this actually do? Well, inside the deals tab, you can basically find yourself a sales pipeline. This sales pipeline is going to give you guys a kind of visual Kanban view of all of the different deals which you have going on. So right here, you are then going to have different kind of stages. These stages are qualification, needs analysis, and value proposition, identify decision makers, pricing quote, and so on. And on the right, you can then also see closed won. So if you have actually won a deal, you can drag this onto this, and this will then actually automatically update on all of the analytics tab as well as on the home tab right here. However, you can also set different kind of deals as lost, or you can also set them as lost to competition if you do want to. So let's actually now go over this. Right here under qualification, you can see a 10% thing right here. But what does that actually mean? Well, essentially, this is just going to be the number, how likely it is going to be that this deal is going to move forward onto the next stage. Now, you can actually see that this is going to start quite low, and this is then going to be a lot more further down the line. This is just because, obviously, if you, for example, already have set a proposal or a price quote, or if you already are negotiating, it is much more likely that you're going to convert that exact deal than actually when you are just in the qualification phase. Now, to actually change this number right here, just open up the deal, and then right here under qualification, we can change this. We can actually then head over to needs analysis, and we can then actually also customize this right here if we do want to. Now, the deals view is going to be much more, I guess, customized and much more informative than the leads and contacts view before, because right here you can then basically see all of the different stages which this deal is going to be in, and you can then actually also automatically change the stages, and this will then also show up right here. And we can then once again open this up, we can see the contact person, and we can then actually also see the next action. This is super powerful because this is actually going to be a great way of keeping track of all of the different tasks which you will have to do. Under details, you can see all of the details, and the rest is basically going to be somewhat the same. The only thing which is going to be different is that under stage history, you can then see all of the different information based on the stages. Now let's actually opt out of this. This sales pipeline basically is just going to be your default all these pipeline. And you can once again filter these by using any of these filters right here on the left. However, you can actually also access new and other pipelines right here. So you can, for example, add a view and basically select a view with all of the locked deals. This is then going to show up like this. You can then actually see all of the deals which you have. In my case, as all of these deals are mine, this is basically going to be the same as the all deals view, but you get my point. Either way, you can then also add a new custom view right here, where you can then put in all of the criteria. You can then actually select everything, and basically this is just going to be another way of actually organizing all of your deals. Also, you can actually change the view of your deals right here. I usually do really like this Kanban view, and this is also kind of the industry norm for all of the other CRMs out there. However, you can also change this to list view. This is going to kind of give you a more spreadsheet view, same as on accounts, contacts, and leads before. And you can then actually also use the custom list view, tile view, and table view if you do want to. But okay, now we do need to send out emails. Now we do need to actually pitch this guy and so on. To basically keep track of all of that, you can use this task function right here. Now, as Zoho actually also does have a Zoho projects function, so basically a project management tool. This is basically going to be the mini project management tool inside your CRM, where you can then create new tasks. So let's, for example, say that the task owner is going to be myself. The subject is going to be meeting with, I don't know, what was his name? Bento, okay? The due date is going to be next week. The contact was, I think it's something like John Butt, okay? And the account was Benton, okay? So meeting with Benton. And then we can actually set the status. We can use not started, deferred, in progress, and we can also set the priority. We can then also say that if this should be repeated, if we do want to see basically select this, we can see that, okay, we can use this at never after one time, or we can also set a certain kind of date. I'm going to cancel this. We can, however, set a reminder, which I would recommend you to do because sometimes it is kind of hard to keep track of everything. So I'm not going to do this right now. However, we can now actually also put in description information, and we can then actually save this right here. And this is then going to give us the task view where we can then actually also send out emails, we can close the task, and we are also going to see a deal summary as well as the open activities right here. But let's actually set up meetings. Right here on the meetings, you can then see all of the different meetings right here. Now, actually, before we are going to set up a new meeting, I quickly do want to connect Zoho onto my calendar so that this meeting is then actually automatically going to show up. To do this, opt out of this and then head over to the settings right here on the top right. So basically to this gear icon. Right here under, let's actually find it, Marketplace, we can then see Zoho, Google and Microsoft. In my case, I'm going to select Google as I'm going to use the Google Calendar for this tutorial. So I'm just going to click on here, and we can now actually automatically basically sync our Google contacts if we do want to. However, we can also just simply connect our Google Calendar. To do so, just click on Authenticate right here. You will simply have to basically connect your Google account, and then after a couple of clicks, this should actually now be connected. We will have to then actually select our calendar, and as for the sync options, I would recommend you to just use two-way sync like this. This is going to sync both your Zoho CRM calendar and your Google Calendar. So whenever you are going to add a meeting on Google on your own manually, this is going to show up on Zoho. However, if you are going to set up a meeting on Zoho, this is also going to show up on Google automatically. So I'm then just going to click on save, and now this should actually be updated and this should actually be accessible. So let's now actually create a new meeting. Let's just name this new meeting. The location is going to be, I don't know, London. And this is going to be a meeting from all day. Let's just say that this is going to be Monday next week. So let's actually save this. And now let's actually view the details. So this is then actually going to redirect us onto this page where you can see all of the different participants, other information and so on. We can then add certain kind of people, and this will then actually also basically invite them through an email address. However, let's now actually head over to our Google Calendar. Let's refresh this, and as you can see, now we can right away see that on Monday a new meeting has been added, and actually right here we can see that, okay, we also do have a Zoho CRM webinar as well as a seminar right here today, so this automatically also has been added. Let's now head back to Zoho and let's actually opt out of this. You can once again also add notes and attachments. I assume this is already clear by now. Either way, let's now actually opt out of the meetings tab. Under calls, you can then actually also basically create different kind of calls. So you can either schedule a call or you can actually also log a call if you do want to. So this is then going to give you different options for the call type, outgoing call status, as well as the purpose of the outgoing call. This is just a great feature to keep track of the cold calling and a lot more. Under reports, you can then actually access all of the different reports. So you can then open this up, and this is basically just going to be different kind of reports made by other people. So this could, for example, be check-ins for your accounts. This could be basically all sorts of different things. So you can, for example, also create yourself a report. You can say that, okay, this is going to be around the leads function, and we can then actually add new modules onto this. So we can then add, okay, basically we can then choose the relationship type and so on. Now, I personally don't really use this, and I also don't really know a lot of people do use this on a day-to-day basis, so I'm not going to cover this in depth right now as I don't want to waste your time essentially. Under analytics, you can, however, then basically get an in-depth overview of all of the different things going on in your CRM. Now, we already had the home tab right here, and I usually really like this. However, the home tab, basically this is going to be kind of more tailored towards the things which you will have to do. This is going to show your open tasks, your meetings, your today's leads, deals closing this month, and a lot more, whereas analytics are more tailored towards revenue. So right here you can see the leads this month, revenue, deals in the pipeline, you can see how well deals are converting, you can see the leads by source and so on. And on the left, you can also access all sorts of different dashboards. You are going to have some sample ones right here, some default ones. However, you can also create a new dashboard, and you can then basically build this on the go. You can add components right here. You can then select the modules which you do want to add. You can then actually also add the measure. You can say, okay, the average of annual revenue, and this now actually can be added right here. I don't know, I'm just going to add something like this, and now this has been added. Essentially, you can just fully customize this to your likings, although the default ones are also pretty good, and you can then also just add components right here, and if you are somewhat happy with the default views either way. Now, actually, one thing which is super useful to kind of automate a lot of the deal setting things are the products tab right here. Under products, you can basically create products. These products are going to be useful to basically keep track of which kind of service on your website, on your business are going to sell well. So if you, for example, are a web design agency, you could create one product for a full website design, and you could then actually create a second product for just the design alone, not all of the backend settings. And these products are then super useful to basically keep track of both of them, to see which ones are performing better, which ones give you guys more profit, which ones are actually more common in your business, and a lot more. Under quotes, you can then actually create codes. So codes essentially are just legal agreements between a customer and a vendor, and these are used to deliver the requested products on an agreed upon price, which is super useful. You can actually easily create this right here. And one thing which is also important to notice, on the dots right here on the right, you can actually see all of the other apps which Zoho has available. And if you, for example, do want to create invoices, you can easily just access the Zoho invoice tab right here, and then you can actually create invoices within a few clicks. And I think this is actually also completely free to use. Basically, these apps are super powerful, and I would recommend you to actually get into them. However, I'm not going to do that in today's tutorial. However, if you guys do want me to do that, make sure to leave me a comment down below, and I will create a video in the future covering the apps which you guys want me to cover. Either way, let's now opt out of this. Under sales orders, you can then actually also see the documents which are going to be added on after a sales order. You can see the services right here, and you can actually also access projects. So this is basically just project management right inside here, and this is going to work exactly the same than Zoho projects. Let me show you this, then Zoho projects right here. Either way, that's basically it. You are also going to have purchase orders, invoices. This is basically going to be the Zoho invoice thing right here inside the CRM, and you're then actually also going to have some other options which aren't really that common altogether. Now that's it. I would recommend you to actually start this video and come back to it if you guys do struggle with setting up Zoho on your own, and if you guys do want to sign up to Zoho, I will leave you a link down below.